all your sports fans out there, and welcome to This Is All About Hot Seat Sports Talk. Last show in the studio for the year.
Did you hear that? Did you hear that?
For the series.
Oh, yeah.
Last show, bro.
But what a better way to close it out with two guest stars this week. From the USPBL, the Utica Unicorns, Jimmy Latona.
And Kyle Olliges.
Pitcher. All right. Thanks for being here, guys. This is awesome.
Thanks, guys.
Well, thanks for having us.
All right. Let's dive in a little bit to the NBA, if you guys know a little bit. Golden State ended up beating Portland last night. They ended up winning the series 4-0, as we thought last week with Kevin on. You know, that's what we thought. So they're going to their fifth straight finals. Fifth straight. That's unbelievable.
Almost the fifth straight win.
Yeah, they're going for it. Yeah, it's unbelievable.
It was a really hard fight, though. Portland put up a good fight, but in the end, they just couldn't hold out. Even with KD being out, I don't know. But
yeah, I don't know. Eric?
I kind of expected Golden State. I expected Portland to put up a little bit more of a fight without KD being there. But Damian Lillard, CJ McCollum couldn't pull one out.
Yeah,
especially Dame.
Absolutely.
Especially Dame.
Jimmy, Kyle, your thoughts a little bit?
I was hoping to see Portland win. I'm a big Lillard fan, especially when he hit that buzzer beater.
Paul George?
Oh, yeah.
That was awesome. But I actually saw something last night that with Kevin Durant out, the Warriors are like 24-1 this year.
I was reading something a while ago.
I saw it on Twitter.
The Warriors were
almost better without him.
Yeah, without him. I saw that too.
Yeah,
that's just not fair. That's just not fair.
I thought it'd be a different game after, since Kevin Durant was out, but that apparently didn't change anything for them.
I know. And then in the East, Milwaukee beat Toronto beat Milwaukee the other night. So now it's 2-1. Game 4 is tonight. Brian?
As long as Kawhi is being Kawhi, I think Toronto's going to keep putting up a fight.
Well, I think Milwaukee will just stretch it to 3-1. That's what I think. Giannis is here.
I'm feeling that Giannis is going to end up kind of taking over. I just got a feeling. Leonard will stay in this picture, though, no question. He's going to be there for a while. I feel like he's got a lot more potential on Toronto than he did anywhere else.
Yes.
He's just playing better. He's got a better mentality.
Yeah.
I can see a lot for this team in the coming years, but this series, they're not going to be able to finish it out.
Yeah. Guys?
It'd be interesting to see it go all 7 games?
Yeah, all 7, yeah.
It'd be interesting to see this one go all 7. I don't know, blowouts, the 4-0 wins are just,
that's not fun to watch.
It's playoffs. Everybody wants to see stuff go into, Game 7 where it's, buzzer beaters in the game. So I wouldn't mind seeing this one go to 7, but that was tough, and they're both really good teams.
Toronto's got no shot to ever be good with Drake supporting him.
He was tripping last game. I saw that.
I'm all in on the Drake curse. I'm all in.
Kind of like Spike Lee and the Knicks, huh?
Yeah, I'm all in on that. So I don't think Toronto will ever do anything.
Yeah, exactly. So a little bit of baseball. Your guys' biggest surprise in the majors so far this year? Just any team that's doing good, bad?
I'd say the two teams that, I've talked to some guys in our clubhouse, like the Twins and the Pirates.
Really?
No one really had any expectations for them, and I think the Twins have one of the best records in the AL right now, which is, compared to last year, I think they were one of the worst teams.
Yeah,
and this year they've been doing well. I know it's early, but, I'd say for sure, definitely the Twins.
Yeah.
I think the biggest surprise, me being from Kentucky and all, there's no real big teams. Closest team Cincinnati. So I guess coming up here for the past couple of seasons, I've kind of grown to be a Tigers fan. They started out hot, and I noticed a 17-3 loss.
Yeah, they lost by 2 touchdowns, so it's all right.
It's football scores and a baseball thing. The other thing, the Red Sox have kind of flipped their season around. Everybody was real worried about Chris Sale real early in the season about his velocity being down.
Yeah.
And then turn around and I saw something the other day. It threw a slider to a lefty, and it went from one side of the batter's box and it went completely to the other side. There's no bat long enough to even hit the baseball.
Wow. So real quick before we ask you guys some questions, week 3 of the league. You guys are hosting Birmingham this weekend. You guys are 4-1, and Birmingham's 1-2. Thoughts going in? How's the team look?
So that's Friday night's game, correct?
Yep.
Yeah. So Friday we got a pretty legit pitcher in Donald Goodson, a guy from kind of around the area. I mean, our three starters this year, Donald, Spencer, Stockton, and Kyle here, have been pretty lights out for us. I mean, we've been able to hit the ball just enough to kind of give them some support, but I feel good about the weekend. I mean, we got a good team and we all get along really well, so things have been going pretty well for us.
Awesome. And then I think it's Saturday's game or Sunday's, one of the two. You guys are playing Eastside, which we had
Saturday.
Kevin Watley here with us last week. So, you know, that's going to be Eastside's 2-2. So hopefully you get out of the weekend with 6 wins. You know, with 2 wins,
Oh,
be
yeah.
at 6-1.
Oh yeah,
That'd be a really good start to the year.
That'd be
Oh
ideal.
yeah, like Jimmy said, just the pitching staff this year has been you know pretty spot on, and then the offense is just now starting to roll around. You know, early in the season, the one loss, I don't think we really produced with guys in scoring position, but it feels like the past couple games, guys have been able to kind of squeak some through, and just show up in those big time moments. So I think once the weather starts to really warm up here in Michigan, it'll start to the baseball start flying a little bit better, and some of these guys will have some home runs on some stats.
Yeah, absolutely. I hope the weather warms up.
Yeah. You know,
Because this past weekend, it was just rain, cold, warm one day.
and
It was
also on
crazy.
the warm front out of nowhere, yeah. So.
Exactly. So let's get to the questions. We got a lot of questions for you guys.
Put you on the spot.
Okay. All right. So Kyle, you're originally from Louisville, Kentucky, and Jimmy, you're from Rochester, New York. Tell us what your high school experience was like playing baseball. Kyle, we'll start with you.
All right, so I went to a school called Pleasure Ridge Park High School, very known in the city of Louisville and in the state of Kentucky. I think they've got a total of 5 state champions. I was actually unfortunate to be, I was actually lucky enough to be on the 4th state championship team in 2013, and man, that was fun. It's just like Jimmy said, good group of guys. I think all of us, 9 of 12 end up going to play college baseball after.
Wow.
So we were a good squad, and it's just we found ways to win baseball games. We did a lot of small ball stuff. I actually think that we won the state championship on a push bunt, kind of one of those sacrifice squeeze push bunts. So that was pretty fun. But yeah, like I said, man, it was a great environment. Going out of high school, winning a state championship in Kentucky.
So mine was the complete opposite of this. My high school was not very good at baseball. I played 4 years on varsity. I think the most wins we had was like 10. We weren't very good. My senior class, I was the only one that went on to play college baseball.
Wow.
So we weren't really a top-notch high school team. But, I mean, I still have friends from high school that I played with and whatnot, but we weren't very good.
All right, so Jimmy, you attended Mercyhurst University, am I correct?
Yes.
And then Kyle, you attended Spalding.
Yes, sir.
What was the experience like at those schools, just playing and the culture around there in general?
Mercyhurst was great. I mean, we're a top Division II team in the country every year. They're hosting Super Regional on campus this weekend, and I mean, when you walk in there, you know that you're there to win. That's just kind of what the coach digs into us, and if we don't win 30-plus games a year, it's a bad year. So, I mean, we kind of go in every year expecting to win and expecting to do well. And my senior year, at one point, we were #1 in the country for Division II for 5 weeks. So, I mean, it's kind of just one of those things where you go in there and you're going to compete and you're going to win. And if you're not playing well, then you're going to find yourself on the bench, and that's just kind of how it goes.
Wow.
I know with myself, Spalding was actually at an NAIA school. I think this season or 2 before I had went there. So I think it might have been the second season of being Division III. They just went from NAIA to Division III, but they were one of the top NAIA schools when they were there. So they still wanted to kind of keep that ingrained. So it's been a very big process of kind of rebuilding a program. Trying to bounce up in a division and stuff like that. Kind of different layout of how many games and stuff like that. But as far as the atmosphere was great. It had numerous coaches. So it's as you kind of progress through
your life with baseball, you meet so many different guys and stuff like that, and you have so many different connections. I always tell everybody, I say there's more than one way to skin a cat with a lot of things. So you hear different techniques and different ways about playing the game. So you learn so much just as you go through with all the different connections you have. I've got guys that coached me that were from California and Arizona and stuff like that. So I've had a very wide selection of coaches over my days. But like I said, playing there, and he said, those coaches just kind of ingrained a winning mentality inside of our brains.
So we're graduating in a few days. Do you guys have any advice for us coming out, going into college, or for anybody that's watching?
Enjoy your time. College is a lot of fun if you make it fun. I know a lot of people that went to college and didn't really get the full environment of college. So the biggest thing I would just say is enjoy it. I mean, I don't know if I'm supposed to say this at a high school thing, but party, have fun. Like it's fun. You'll make a lot of friends doing it like that.
All right.
Yeah, like you said, go out and enjoy it. Most definitely go out and have fun with your friends. Obviously stay in with your education. Obviously, that's the main reason you're there. But like I said, if you guys go to, I think you said you were going to Central Michigan, correct?
Correct.
I'm sure they've got some sort of rec sports or something. Get involved in something. Go out and have fun. Make connections, make friends, things like that. You'll have the guys you graduate high school with, and you'll talk to a couple of them. Back in the day. But college is where you really kind of expand your wings and kind of go out on your own. So make the connections and make the friendships that'll last for lifetimes. I still talk to guys that I went to school with from Canada.
Oh, wow.
Still really good buddies with them. Still call them every so often and talk to them. So like I said, college is where you really make your big friendships.
Wow, that's awesome. How did the USPBL contact each of you to come and play for Utica?
So I was actually finishing up my senior year of college. Had a couple looks by the Phillies. Nothing ended up going through after the season and the draft, things like that. So I had a goal to finish up my master's degree. So I actually finished a master's degree in 4.5 years. I've got a master's in occupational therapy.
Oh, wow.
So I really pride myself in that. So as I was kind of going through, I was like, what do I do with baseball? I had a personal workout with a Rockies guy. And he had told me, he said, I've got a really good guy up in Michigan that you should talk to. So I called him and talked to him. So chance came around last season. He was like, hey, I'd like to bring you up to the USPBL and get you in and get you rolling. So kind of, in a personal workout that I had myself that kind of led into this. So it's, contacts, man.
Awesome.
Yeah, for me, it was January before last season started, and I was actually playing video games when our skip called, or he actually texted me and said, "Are you still interested in playing baseball?" Texted him back. I said, "Absolutely." He goes, "All right, I'll give you a call tomorrow." Called me and offered me a contract the next day when I kind of thought that it was all said and done. So yeah, that was mine. That was my experience with it. That's how I got.
Do you remember what game you were playing?
Yeah, what game were you playing?
I was playing NHL.
Not even the show?
No, I'm a big NHL. I've gotten into Fortnite, but I'm not as good, but I'm a big NHL guy.
Quick with the NHL. Who do you like for the Stanley Cup?
I would like to see the Blues win, just
Blues.
because.
Oh, wow.
One, because I know someone from college who lives in St. Louis, and then there's another
Okay.
kid that's in this league that's from St. Louis that I'm pretty good friends with. And again, they were a team last year. I think they had the worst record in the NHL, and they really turned their season around. So I'd like to see them pull something.
I'm most definitely with them. I would like to see the Blues win. Just kind of switching things up. It's like
Really
the
would
same
be.
team
Yeah.
wins. It's like the NBA playoffs. It kind of gets boring after the same team wins it over and over.
Yeah, we've talked about that
We're all
before.
cool about dynasties and stuff, but the Blues. When's the last time that they've won?
Not for a while.
Yeah, it's been a while. So like I said, just new team winning the playoffs would be.
Exactly.
Now, how much time did they give each of you to arrive in Michigan to play? Once you got the call and agreed to everything to play for the USPBL?
Well, our report day is end of April time is kind of when we have to be here
Probably
to
starting to warm up here.
spring training and all of our other things that go on. So, for me, last year, before my first season here, I found it in January, so I had time to get ready to go. And then at the end of last season, I think Skip called us around the end of September, early October.
Skip called towards the end of September to kind of let us know about
if he was bringing us back or if you weren't getting your contract renewed. So both of us found out around October last year that we'd be coming back in April.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, wow, that's awesome.
So that
So
most
we had
definitely
some
helped
time.
off-season planning and training and stuff like that. So like I said, we had some time to get up. Like I said, a bunch of guys even drive from where they're at.
Yeah.
So like I said, we just kind of whenever we feel they give us a date, hey, be here for spring training, and then from spring training we'll roll right into it hot.
Awesome.
Nice. What were your guys' first reactions when you came to Michigan?
Well, so like you said before, I went to Mercyhurst, and my girlfriend that I met at Mercyhurst is from East Lansing.
Oh, wow.
So I've kind of been in Michigan and somewhat around this area, driving through, haven't really stayed here until this. But honestly, for me, I don't know about Kyle, but this is very similar to Rochester, where I'm from. I mean, not a huge city, but good size, got a lot going on, restaurants, all that kind of stuff. So it really wasn't that big of a change for me coming here.
The first thing I remember driving up from Kentucky through Ohio is crossing the Michigan border, and the roads just instantly got terrible. I know you guys get a lot of snow, but my first thought was these roads are
Terrible.
they gotta do
They're terrible.
I've heard there's I've heard this before. There's 2 seasons in Michigan. There's winter and there's construction.
Yep.
No, that's about right.
Yeah, that's right.
man.
Yep,
That's
yep,
about right.
yeah.
That's about right. My other thought when I had first thought of Michigan and baseball, I was like, wait, why am I going north to play baseball? Normally all the guys go south to play baseball in Florida and Arizona and those things. But now since I've been here, I've really enjoyed it. It's a beautiful place. A lot of nice golf courses around, a lot of water. So there's always something to do, especially when it's nice outside. The summers here are really, really nice when it starts to warm up.
Yeah, I couldn't agree with you more, man.
Yeah.
Now, do you two try to play like any MLB player? Do you idolize anyone's particular MLB? And if you do, why?
For me, a guy that I love, I'll change that. So a guy that I love to watch is Jose Ramirez, third baseman for the Cleveland Indians.
Okay.
And I don't necessarily try to be the same player he is because he's a third baseman and I'm a catcher and he is a switch hitter and I'm a right-handed hitter. So we're not very similar. And the reason why I love watching him play is he just plays so hard. I mean, if you ever watch him play, he's going 100% every single time. Like balls he's running out, bloopers that are getting in that he's scoring from second base. Just everything he does is 100 miles an hour. And that's just one thing that I've always really tried to do when I play is always just go as hard as I possibly can because realistically in baseball that's something that's going to turn someone's head to kind of watch you and see, okay, well this kid's really out here working hard, like maybe we should take a look at him. So that's one thing that I like about Jose Ramirez.
For myself, I guess as being young, I always kind of idolized King Griffey Jr. And as I kind of started to, find my place in high school, being a pitcher and stuff like that, and kind of knowing that was going to be my route to things, I really started to hone in on just the pitching and catching aspect part of the game. So guys like Justin Verlander, have been in the league for a while for the Tigers. Now he's doing well for the Astros. Even newer guys like Walker Buehler for the Dodgers and stuff. Those types of guys that are, mechanics are so sound. And it seems like they're throwing a baseball 100 miles an hour, and it looks like they're just throwing feathers. And then, guys behind the plate that just make our lives easier. And like I said, this is, battery right here. What really makes a pitcher look good is the guy that's behind the plate. So you look at guys like Yadier Molina and those types of guys that, they make my job, they make me look even better than I actually am. So a lot of the times, guys are like, oh, such and such had 15 strikeouts. Well, 95% of it's on him. So it's like he's playing a video game back there, and I'm just doing it. So that's kind of what I really enjoyed is just the pitching and catching aspect part of it.
So, since you guys are from different states, how do living situations work? Like, do you have your own places, or like you said before, off camera, you have a host family?
Yeah, so you kind of have a choice when you come here. You can either live with a host family that take you in, or you can live in the apartment complex, the Harbors. I don't know if you guys know where that's at, but you really have a choice on which one you want to live in. And you live with your host families.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we both live with host families. So that just makes it a lot easier and kind of makes you feel more at home, kind of being with
Yeah,
that.
it's most definitely different than obviously still being college grad students and stuff like that. We're still trying to see where life takes us and stuff like that. So we're probably living at home or in an apartment ourselves and stuff like that. So to move a couple hours away from home, to have a family really take you in is one of their own. And it's a relationship you'll have the rest of your lives. It makes our lives a lot easier. We feel a lot more comfortable being hours from home. It just makes playing baseball a lot easier as well.
Yeah, absolutely. With some of these players in this league the past 3 years been signed to the majors, some of them being your teammates and stuff like that, do you still keep in contact with them who have gone to the next level?
I still talk to Cody Brown. He was a pitcher last year that got signed by the Mariners. I talk to him probably a couple times a week. So me and him we're real good friends. And then who else was there? Jesse.
Jesse and Jake Mayer were two pitchers that were both signed. I know Jesse signed real late in the season last year, but I know I've kept in real good contact with Jesse. I normally talk to him probably twice a week. Like he said, we're always Snapchatting funny pictures back and forth in the locker rooms that's going on and stuff like that. But like I said, we still try to keep up with a lot of these guys and kind of see where things are going and what aspects we need to change to get to the next.
What's the best and worst aspects of playing in this league?
I'd say the best probably is just the stadium atmosphere. I mean, I don't know how many people have been there, but it's pretty cool. And the coolest thing is there's so many kids, right? So normally you'll go, 'cause we both played summer ball in college, and when you go to there, you get a lot of adults that are drinking. And it's not always as much fun as when you got these little kids coming up and asking for your autographs and kind of looking at you the way that, I don't know about him, that I used to look at guys when I'd go to major league games when I was younger. So that's the one thing that's real cool about this. And I would have to say probably the worst part is the pre and post game spread. The food's not always the best.
Oh, I could probably agree with the food aspect. I think my favorite part of it, a lot of these other leagues and places you go to, and I know it's a big thing with baseball, but the thing that really makes this league unique is the travel aspect. All four teams play in the one stadium. Coming from myself and Jimmy's been on many long road trips and stuff like that. After even in college, you play the entire weekend, and it's like, hey, we've got a 9-hour bus ride back home. So just the travel aspect can really wear on your body. If you're not sleeping in a bed, a lot of times you sleep on a bus. If you go to other leagues, they play 3-game set one weekend, and it's like you got a day off and travel, and then sometimes it's like 3-game set in a different city. So it's you get to the hotel, and it's like you may sleep for 2-3 hours before you got to show up for pregame work and stuff like that. So that's probably one of the hardest, or one of the best things about the league is it's all kind of local, so there's no travel. And then, like Jimmy said, probably the worst aspect is probably the food. The pregame spread can be brutal at times.
So, what is the strangest thing you guys have ever seen at Jimmy John's Field?
The strangest thing.
Tough one, isn't it?
I don't know if it's. I don't know how. Like if it's strange or just like I don't know how it happened. Is behind like our home plate. There's that huge net, right, to protect the fans. And last year there was a foul ball that literally went right up, and there's that little walkway, and it came right down and hit someone right in the head. And that was the craziest thing I've ever seen because it like the way it went up and then came right down, and like what are the chances? Like you're walking right at the screen, like you think you're the safest person back there
right behind
the screen, and then it lands right on you. That was
Could you like
probably,
hear it, like the doink?
well, yeah, you heard it, and then you also heard everyone in the stadium going, "Oh!" It was just like, how does that happen?
Ooh,
Like it goes
shoot.
straight up and comes straight. It was just the most bizarre thing I've
I
ever
don't think
seen.
I'll see that anywhere else. If I'm being
Yeah,
honest.
no, I don't know. I don't think I've ever seen that happen before. I don't know if I ever will again. That was crazy.
Yeah, I remember that. Craziest things, I don't know. I mean, some of the plays, craziest things, I guess. I mean, the fans are. Sometimes you run into a couple crazy fans that are pretty gone off. They've had maybe too many of the Blake's hard ciders. So sometimes they have too many of them. Sometimes we get some hecklers like that, and they'll come up and ask us, hey, can I have your bat? And I'm like, what? It'd be different if it was a kid or something like that. But probably sometimes the fans can do it. But hey, it's part of it.
Yeah, that's part of the experience. Do you guys as a team like do things together? Seem like bowling nights or anything like bonding activities or something like that, just to get to know each other better?
Yeah, we have some things that we get, not necessarily bowling. One thing that's kind of cool that I don't know if any of the other players around here that you've had in here, on Thursday nights, a lot of guys from all different teams, we all go bowling together. So I've done that a couple of times where there's a couple hoppers, a couple unicorns, a couple mammoths, and then a couple beavers, and we just go. It's cheap to eat, drink, bowl, so we go there. I've had, now this being my second year here, I've had the guys over to my host family's house a couple times, like just all of us. I think Saturday night we had like 15 or 16 out of our 20 guys showed up.
So, yeah, it's almost the entire team.
Yeah, so it's tough just because we are so busy, and a lot of times when we have nights off, we kind of just want to chill and not really do much. But we're together so much where we don't necessarily always have to do a ton of off-field stuff to have bonding, because I mean, on game days we're together for 8 hours of the day, and then like today we had practice for 2 hours where everyone was together. So I mean, we're together a lot on and off the field, I would say.
Yeah.
All right, Jimmy. I want you to recall your first ever at-bat in this league. What was going through your mind?
Honestly, I think I was just thinking, don't strike out.
That's a good thought.
Yeah. I was just thinking, don't strike out and just put the ball in play. I actually remember like the whole first game that I played here, and then after that, I don't really remember much. Just maybe because it was my first professional game, but I remember my first at bat ever here. I walked. So that was a successful.
Getting on base is the goal.
Yeah,
through
that
the
was
roof,
a,
right?
yeah, that was my first. That was my. So I would say that was a successful first at bat here.
Sounds successful to me.
Yeah.
So you guys, pitchers, catchers, how often do you guys work together during the week?
Pretty often. I mean, so the way that a lot of it works out is we know who's catching the pitcher that game that's coming up. So a lot of things that the pitchers do is they'll throw a midweek bullpen. So when they throw their midweek bullpen, whoever's catching them that weekend is going to be catching that bullpen. So then we can get used to what they're throwing, and then we can just get comfortable with their little cues that they have in their mind. So if they're so for Kyle, both being here last year, he's a guy that sometimes he'll spike his slider or he'll leave his slider over. So I know in my head what I need to say to him to get that slider to where we need it to be. So it's just kind of stuff like that where we do work a lot together so we can have that relationship to help each other out when the game comes, and I can help him when he's on the mound.
Oh yeah, most definitely. Like I said, with Jimmy being here last year, instantly coming back right this summer, throwing to him is, it's different than throwing in the off season. It's like, the second he squatted down behind the plate, it was like, yeah, this is what it's supposed to be. So it's you regain that comfortability over the time. And like I said, the more work that I get in, if I leave something up, he's like, hey, really work to do this. So he kind of finds those cues, and like I said, he just the other day I was pretty much locating a lot of stuff, and it was just like, it's like he's playing a video game back there. He's just pushing buttons like the show, and it's just, watch it work. So it's like I said, I really credit a lot of my success and things like that on the catchers and stuff like that. You know, you got to have a good catcher behind the plate to make the pitcher look good.
Kyle, is there a certain routine that you go through every game to either warm up as a pitcher, and warm up with Jimmy if he's your catcher that game?
So normally I've got a very good routine of kind of coming in the clubhouse, kind of early, listen to a couple tunes, grab a little snack. I can't ever eat a whole lot on days that I'm starting and throwing and stuff like that, just because I don't want to ever be on a full stomach. But I do have a good band routine, the delivery value system that Justin Ornduff kind of has within the league. So that's kind of the big thing within the league is arm health and kind of arm care and really working on the mechanics and stuff like that. That band routine for me has done absolute wonders as far as my recovery. It goes through the roof. So if I stick to that band routine and kind of do the same things, with that, things seem to roll as they should. The throwings, kind of almost the same every start, every time. I always try to always have the same set number of pitches. I always feel like I throw 4 fastballs out, 4 fastballs in, 4 change-ups, and kind of, as you're going through, you kind of throw these pitches. So after you kind of feel comfortable with them all, then you start mixing them up and stuff like that. That's where Jimmy really comes in and kind of calls his own batter, stuff like that, right before you go in. So like I said, that's kind of the big band routine, and then kind of staying within the same thing in the bullpen of, fastballs and just kind of making it repetition, repeating these mechanics, and kind of getting them down pat before you go into the start.
Now, we know there have been countless players that's been signed to the majors since the league opened in 2016. Do you two feel you have what it takes to someday be hopefully called up to the majors? I think I know the answer to that, but
We hope we do, yeah.
Cross fingers.
Just hoping so. We both feel like we can, so we just got to get that opportunity.
just gotta show what you got. Yeah.
I think we had a thing. I think the big unicorn thing is checking boxes.
Yeah.
So
Chicken boxes.
checking
Oh,
boxes.
checking boxes.
So, basically, if the scout's there at the game, what does the player show? So they've got a particular set of a particular set of things that they're looking for. So we call it the checklist. So the big thing, the guy hits a ball hard, or guy throws a good off-speed pitch and does it again. The biggest thing we'll say is we keep checking boxes. So the more boxes we feel that we can check that would be on there, the greater our success and hopes that we would get the phone call.
Awesome. So Kyle, you're 1-0, correct?
Yes, sir.
9 strikeouts.
I think that sounds about right. I try not to look at the stat line. I know it's there. I try not to really worry a whole lot about it. My biggest thing is I don't want to give up a whole lot of runs.
That's a good thing to think about. What's your routine before you go through every pitch?
I know before every inning, and I know Jimmy's realized this. Before every inning, after the throw around, stuff like that, I'll catch the ball. I'll walk back and I'll take a big deep breath, and I like to kneel, kind of squat down, and I'll just say a quick prayer. Sometimes a little longer, sometimes a little shorter. But before every inning, I always kind of take a big deep breath and kind of clear everything, and say a quick little prayer for myself, and then kind of from there, when I stand up and look at Jimmy, normally the hitter's starting to walk into the box. So by the time I walk up on the mound, it's just release everything. It's go time. Time to have fun.
Oh wow, that's awesome. Now, when each batter steps in the box from other teams, do you know right away, Jimmy, what call to make if Kyle's pitching or if anybody else is pitching?
Yeah, for the most part, as a catcher, that's your main job, is calling the game. So obviously, if we call a pitch and they don't execute it, it's not our fault. So it's their fault. So if they execute it, that's why Kyle has 9 strikeouts and he had a very good first outing. Same thing with Donald. As a catcher, it's not just calling out where to throw the ball and things like that. We got to watch every swing that these hitters have and every at bat. So a big thing for me is I also play in other positions. So when I'm not catching, I watch the hitters on the other teams to remember things for when I am catching against them, so I can know what pitch I need to call against them.
Oh wow.
A lot of the times I even feel like, being, a starter and stuff like that, and kind of seeing, through these games and kind of keeping up, through the league and stuff, you pay attention to where guys are successful and where they aren't. And I feel like when I step up on the, on the rubber, I feel like he's in my head, you know, he knew exactly what I wanted. You know, kind of on the same page. You know, if you wouldn't have went here, this is where we were. He was like, oh, I was a step ahead of you. So it's very fun when you're on the rubber and the catcher's inside your head and he's just, you know, you don't even have to worry about it.
It's like a guessing game then with you two. Oh, is he going to predict right this time? Oh, I'm still going to do that. So with there only being 4 teams in the league, I know you already talked about Thursday night bowling nights with other teams, but like, do you develop like relationships with players from the other teams, like kind of friendships or anything, or like other than bowling nights?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, again, like how I said before, like the Unicorns are together a lot, so are the other teams. So we're always around each other. I mean, the way it works for like our practice days is the one team practices and then the next team comes in after. So I mean, we're always near each other.
Mm-hmm.
And the thing that's cool too is a lot of guys knew other guys coming into this league, which is different. So catcher for the Hoppers, me and him were actually junior college teammates.
Oh, wow.
We were roommates on the road. So whenever
that's
we
cool.
travel, we stayed in the same hotel room. So it's just stuff like that. So I know him really well, so I'll hang out with him, and then he's got his friends on his team that he hangs out with, so then I'll meet him through them, and then same thing when he hangs out with me, he'll meet more unicorns. So you do build relationships and with everyone throughout the league.
Yeah, I always try to like to keep it open. Obviously, you know, yeah, they're the enemies, but at the same time, we're all in the same spot. We're all trying to go to the same place. So you know, you're always talking to these other guys and kind of hanging out with them and stuff like that. You know, sometimes you make even better friends on the other teams. Yeah. So like I said, you know, with his situation, you know, being roommates and stuff like that, you know, they were good buddies, and then now when you step on the ball field, they're enemies. So like I said, yeah, it's most definitely good to keep the relationships. Even like I said, you know, back in college, you know, the more relationships you guys can start building, the better, you know, the better things are. And then it's just, you know, it almost gets to the point of it's who do you know?
Yeah. It's just kind of like what Kevin Watley said too. It's exactly what you guys said. That's awesome. And so now, the last interview question for the series here for you guys.
Oh, man.
Since there are only 4 teams in this league, would you like to see the league expand?
Yeah, I think it would definitely be. It would be cool. The only thing that's tough with that is they need another field.
Yeah, same
we're
stadium.
About, we're about maxed out at our stadium right now.
Yeah.
But I definitely think it would be good for the league and the fans. I mean, obviously they'd make more money, but I think it would help the players as well, because if you've looked at a lot of guys, for a position players aspect of it is most of the guys that have gotten signed out of here are pitchers. So the whole reason why is they're used to seeing the same 9 batters. So they get real comfortable with what they need to throw to us as position players to get us out. So for some guys, they struggle with hitting a slider. Well, if you don't figure out how to hit a slider, then you're going to get out almost every single time because that's all the pitchers are going to throw to you.
Right.
So that's one reason why on the field I think it'd be real good for them to expand, just because that'll help position players out, because then pitchers won't get so comfortable throwing the hitters.
Wow. Absolutely.
Yeah, I also I would like to see it expand, not to the point of growing too large. You hear a lot of teams end up going under because of, you know, financial things. But like I said, the league does great with everything else. You know, there's always, you know, 2,000 fans at the games, stuff like that.
Yeah.
So they're always making it there. But like I said, just expanding it to maybe 6 or 8 teams, still keeping it rather small, and kind of using the developmental aspect of things. So, you know, like I said, we're playing big on the weekends, but during the you know, those Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday days, you know, that's when we're really putting our work in and stuff like that. Hitters are in the cages, you know, pitchers are really going through their bullpens, things like that. So if you keep it small to really focus on developing a player, not being like the other teams, you know, the other independent leagues of just, you know, hey, you were here for a week, you didn't really do what we asked, so, you know, we're going to release you. So that's where the league really steps up from the others, is we're really known for the developmental part of things. So like I said, if they keep it small to a 6 or 8 team thing, to kind of make it a little funner, you know, split it even better on the divisions. So I think it's what us and the Hoppers and the Beavers and the Mammoths are on the other side. So like I said, you know, maybe if they went 3-3 or 4-4 to kind of give a little bit.
Absolutely.
like I said, I think they mentioned about breaking ground soon, but
They talked
I don't
about
know where.
building another stadium and then
I know,
having
it's-
4 teams at that one, and then the same 4 teams here, and then this is one division, that's another division. But
Yeah, that's what we heard a little bit last week too. Yeah.
It'll be interesting to see where that goes. Andy Appleby's got a lot of good ideas. Like I said, you see what he did with Jimmy Johns, so it'll be interesting to see how they're going to take things now.
That's awesome. And thank you, like you said, your Tuesdays. You spend your time, and thank you for spending your time with us. We appreciate it. Thanks for making one of our last week of school worth it, and our last show in the studio, because next week we're going live in front of an audience in our auditorium. So that's going to be
No pressure.
no pressure.
that's
So,
awesome.
and thank you guys again. 15 guests, over the past 2 years. So it's been awesome.
That's awesome.
It's been awesome, and thank you guys for being our first and only double interview. So this is awesome. Hope you guys had a good time.
Thank
You guys
you.
got the good one.
Catcher. And we hope you guys had a good time. This is awesome. So, and apologies to Sam Martin back there. We ran out of time. So, yeah. So we're gonna be back next week Tuesday in the auditorium for our last show ever. So thank you guys again. This is awesome. And until then, as always, keep it fresh.
What's up, beautiful people? It's your boy Big Joe Fourier, former Detroit Lions tight end back in the day, current heartthrob. But I'm here to not talk about that. I'm here to talk to you about the series finale. You gotta tune in to the series finale of the Hot Seat podcast, hosted by my main man, Aaron, along with his buddies, Brian and Eric. I tell you what, these guys together are some great minds, very young, but also very knowledgeable about what they talk about, and they are great about sharing it. They've won countless awards in Michigan. They're going to win more awards after they move and branch out from Michigan. The train can't talk over me because I'm Big Goddamn Joe, not a big goddamn train. So make sure you subscribe, you like it, you tell your friends, you share it on Instagram, and you follow this Hot Seat Sports podcast.